the way of Phoenix, and it turned into buckets. Clark. Oh, yeah! Here we go.
For nearly 2
years, changed the entire conversation around Caitlin Clark. For months, the spotlight had been on her scoring, her passing, her deep three-pointers, and the unbelievable attention she receives every time she steps on the court. But this time, something different happened. Everything was exposed. The pressure, the defensive adjustments, the physicality, the expectations, and most importantly, the areas of Caitlin Clark's game that opponents have realized they can attack. From the opening minutes, it was obvious that this was not going to be an ordinary game. The defense immediately started throwing different looks at Clark. Instead of simply allowing her to bring the ball up and create, defenders pressured her earlier. They tried to force her away from her preferred spots and made every possession feel like a battle. And that is where the real story began. Because when you are Caitlin Clark, teams don't just prepare for you. They build their entire defensive strategy around stopping you. Every screen matters. Every pass is contested. Every driving lane becomes crowded. And every mistake gets magnified. Clark has already shown that she can change a game with one explosive stretch. Give her a little space, and she can knock down a three. Give her a passing lane, and she can find a teammate nobody else saw. Give her momentum, and suddenly an entire arena starts believing something special is about to happen. But opponents have learned something too. They know they cannot give her easy opportunities. So instead of waiting for Clark to get comfortable, they attacked her from the beginning, and that exposed one of the biggest challenges facing her. Caitlin Clark is no longer treated like a normal young player. She is treated like the centerpiece of the opposing game plan. That means there is almost no room for an ordinary night. If she scores, everyone talks about it. If she struggles, everyone talks about it. If she turns the ball over, it becomes a headline. And that kind of pressure is completely different from what most players experience. But Clark kept fighting. Even when the shots weren't falling the way she wanted, she continued looking for ways to impact the game. That's an important part of her game that often gets overlooked. Clark doesn't have to score 30 points to influence a basketball game. She can create opportunities with her passing.
Clark from way outside drops a three. Clark, oh, from another stratosphere. Oh, yeah! Here we go.
The
She
second
can push the pace. She can draw defenders away from teammates. And she can make one decision that completely changes a possession. But on this night, the defense understood that. They weren't only defending her shot. They were trying to disrupt everything she wanted to do. That meant showing help whenever she attacked. It meant closing out quickly when she moved beyond the arc. And it meant forcing her to make difficult decisions again and again. This is where the game became a test of maturity. Because great players eventually reach a point where opponents stop allowing them to play comfortably. The next step is learning how to win anyway. And that's exactly what makes this game so important for Clark. It exposed what she still needs to improve. But it also exposed something about her that critics sometimes ignore. She doesn't disappear simply because the defense makes things difficult. She keeps searching. She keeps creating. She keeps competing. And that matters. Because every superstar eventually faces games where nothing comes easily. The shots don't fall. The defense is aggressive. The turnovers come at the worst possible moments. And the opponent refuses to let you control the game. Those are the nights that reveal the most. Not the easy wins. Not the games where everything is clicking. The difficult ones. And this was one of those nights. At times, Clark looked frustrated. But frustration is not the same thing as surrender. She continued attacking, continued communicating with her teammates, and continued to try to find another way into the game. And that may be the biggest takeaway. The game didn't expose Caitlin Clark as a player who can't handle pressure. It exposed just how much pressure is already being placed on her. Every opponent wants to be the team that shuts her down. Every defender wants to be the one who forces her into mistakes. And every game becomes another opportunity to prove that the hype surrounding Clark is either justified or exaggerated. This
results in only a technical foul on Caitlin Clark.
That's wrong.
It's downright wrong.
the reality of being one of the most watched players in basketball. There is nowhere to hide. But here's the part that should make the rest of the league uncomfortable. Clark is still learning. She's still adjusting. She's still developing. And she's already capable of creating problems that defenses haven't spent an entire game preparing for. Imagine what happens when she becomes even more comfortable against these defensive schemes. Imagine when the reads become automatic. Imagine when she consistently punishes teams for sending extra defenders toward her. That's when these defensive strategies could start working against the teams using them. Because every adjustment creates another opportunity. Double Clark? Someone else may be open. Pressure full court? Her passing ability can punish you. Take away the three? She can attack the space behind the defense. That's the chess match. And this game may have exposed weaknesses, but it also revealed the next stage of her evolution. Caitlin Clark doesn't need every game to prove that she's already perfect. She needs these games to learn, to adjust, to become harder to defend, and to understand exactly what opponents are willing to do to stop her. So when people look at this game and only see the mistakes, the missed shots, or the difficult stretches, they're missing the bigger picture. This was a lesson, a very public one. And perhaps the most important lesson of all is that the league has officially figured out that Caitlin Clark cannot be defended casually. She has to be planned for. She has to be pressured. And she has to be challenged every single possession. But now Clark gets to respond. Because the next time she sees these defensive schemes, she won't be seeing them for the first time. She'll know what they're trying to do. And that's when the real adjustment begins. One difficult game can expose weaknesses, but it can also reveal exactly what a superstar needs to become even better. And if Caitlin Clark turns everything this game exposed into something she can improve, the next chapter could look very different. Because sometimes the most revealing game isn't the one where a player dominates. It's the one where everything goes wrong, and the player refuses to stop fighting. That is what makes this game so important. The league showed Caitlin Clark exactly what it plans to do against her. Now it's her turn to show the league what she's going to do about it.